Welcome to the Rathe Action News, breaking news from the Attack Action podcast. Wow, and I put all of our names in the wrong place. I am not Blake. I'm Colin. Blake's down there. Me and him have swapped names today. That's great. That's real good. All right, what's up, guys? How are you? We're here to talk about one
It's
thing
Rosetta
only,
time.
and it's that Rosetta Thorn is coming back to ruin everyone's lives again, and LSS is trolling us. Straight trolling us with the newest set that was just announced at US Nats in front of new US Nats winner Evan Herndon.
Correct.
Yes, true.
Which was just very funny that Brian Gottlieb was just like, and then let me talk for 20 minutes at you, Evan, while you just won a huge tournament.
Yeah, and it was like, I actually don't know why you're here, but this is what we decided to do. Isn't this cool?
Allegedly.
Great television.
It was great. I literally was on the edge of my couch with friend of the show and LGS owner Levi as we watched the end of the stream. It was very exciting, incredible. We're going back to Arya. Incredible. We're doing 4 heroes, 2 rune blades, 2 wizards. It's insane, I think.
The fabled all Arcane set has been dropped.
Totally.
We're here.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's all Arcane. You know?
Is. It has been said. It's on the page of releasing September 2024. Rosetta marks the first set featuring all Arcane classes.
Yeah, it's 2 wizards and 2 rune blades. What do you mean?
Arcane classes. Because I was going to say, Felling of the Crown literally attacks for 4. So it's not all Arcane.
No, but
well, what's cool about Runeblade is they do both. Okay?
Yeah, did you know that? Yeah. They do both.
I do. That's like the best part.
It's never been an issue before.
That's why if they have a good hero power, they're going LL as soon as possible.
We
just had to.
Yes, I can't believe they were like, all right, no rune blades for a long time. Next one's powered down. All right, we're going rune blades. 2 rune blades at the same time. Can you imagine
like they split Briar in half?
Just like 3 years ago, if that had happened, people would have been like, what the fuck? Are you crazy? You fucking hate my class. Blah, blah. 2 rune blades, most broken shit. You know, they would have lost their minds.
They're probably doing that right now.
Did you see one of these subtitles on the article page? It says outlast ... or outblast. And that makes me think like, oh crap, these
That's
like
horny.
lightning heroes are about to do some crazy ass combo damage. Like I don't know, you've played Wizard 100 times, right, Colin? Are you pumped for the new Wizard heroes?
Yes, and I hate that they were like, and we're not going to show you what they do, but we'll show you what the fucking, rune blades do, which was just like, okay, what?
Y'all will have a month head start on hero powers and figuring stuff out.
No, whatever. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think I'm trying to find the pictures of the people. Yeah, we've got Verdance. And then Osilo, the lightning construct looking motherfucking wizard, which I'm 100% here for. So I'm very excited for that. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I could not be more excited for Osilo because I started reading some of those old Arya lightning majestics or lightning cards. And whether you want to play Flash a whole bunch or you want to play Channel Thunderstep for the first time in your life. Channel Thunderstep says if you play an action card, doesn't mention it has to be lightning action. You play an action card, you can pay 1 to give it go again. And in my mind, that is all right. We're doing this. Our amulets of lightning also have that thing of if you have lightning fused, you can give an action card go again, not attack action. So eloquence tokens, we don't need them. We're lightning wizard, and now we can get our channel thunderstep ready. We can get our lightning amulets ready, and just do 5 spells in one time. I'm sure his hero power and his weapon will be something that does that, takes advantage of that completely. And I'm pretty sure he's gonna have like a, here's a 6 spell turn, because I also have the other thing up where it says if you hit your opponent, draw a card
Yep.
midway through. All these like cards that never made sense in Wizard, like Tome of Duplicity from Uprising. That was like a, why do I want a Kano hero power for Icelander? That never made sense. Well, now you can give it go again. And that's way better than Kano hero power off the top. My turn stops. That's not what I want. And like Tome of Duplicity now is a way to do 2 spells at once. And like I think the other one that I'm excited for is if he can figure out how to do the minefield card, where your opponent has 1 less card, and I have 1 less card, but I'm gonna draw off of mine. Like that card makes sense for the first time ever too. I'm pumped.
I said in our Discord, I thought I was hyped for Part of the Misfail. And then now I'm like maybe more hyped for this set than Part of the Misfail. And if the next set increases in hypitude, I'm going to die by the end of the year. I will just be dead. It's crazy.
We know what I said. I said I'm not going to buy any more boxes of any set from LSS because their collation is so bad that I've pulled 1 legendary out of 10 boxes, and I've wasted more money than I care to think about.
If you have extra legendaries, please send them to my house, and I'll drive them over to Colin in a big bouquet,
Yeah.
and we'll get him a.
Yeah.
I have new build and what's her face build, Enigma build. If you want to borrow it, don't worry.
Great, because I don't have time to go through these cards that I've already opened angrily. Anyways, the hype on this is tight. Aurora, I have to say, doesn't look like a Rune Blade because she's smiling, and Rune Blades don't smile. They're all gothy edgelords, so there must be some mistake here, or a reason that she's smiling. Maybe it's like because she's always electrocuting herself and just like the muscles are being pulled up. You know.
What's also interesting is Aurora's regular card art is different than her Marvel card art.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. I was just looking at that.
So
that just happened for what's her face, Enigma. So maybe it's like a Japanese only one.
Maybe it says in the product sheet, Japan gets 2 extra legendary Skullcap and Shock Charmers.
Which I think that's a fun thing where you're like, is that a signifier of like Skullcap is going to be good again now because there's going to be so much arcane damage, and like an Earth hero, an Earth wizard, Dance will have more health than you whenever they're sending 6 arcane, and you being able to block 3 of it with your Skullcap is like, put that back in your list for the rest of your life.
Right, because they have the new specialization, Heartbeat of Candlehold, Earth Wizard action, which is crazy. These new borders are nuts. So it's like a Earth card and a Wizard action, and you gain 1 life, gain 1 life, gain 1 life, go again, and it costs 1, blocks 3. That's very powerful, very dope art.
And it says go again. Like what?
It's crazy.
Like, I think there has to be something.
What is the benefit of the 3 statements of gain 1, gain 1, gain 1?
Are they 3 instances of gain 1 life? So if there's a card that says anytime you would gain a life, gain that much plus 1,
or amp up 1. Your other spell or something.
Yeah.
Like I think what's happening is, if you remember the card Forked Lightning, we had to write it a certain way where it says deal arcane damage to opponent. deal arcane damage 2, we wrote that twice on one card, and everyone's like, why doesn't it just say deal arcane 4? Well, when you bump something up, it bumps it up all the time. So I'm assuming there's either a hero power, a weapon, or another majestic that'll be like, if you heal, give your next card amp, and this one would give it 3 times. And now, if I am, let's just say forked lightning, heal 3, do forked lightning, buff 3 times. Forked lightning now comes in for 10 because this has go again on it. And you're gonna do you're gonna gain 3 fork lightning for 10, and your opponent's gonna go, please stop.
Wow, that's such a long chain of hypotheticals. That sounds crazy. I think, Blake, I feel like if we went back, you've got a good track record on projecting on how some of these card interactions could be. So that's really interesting. I was mostly thinking of like the ones where it's like if someone would gain life, like they gain that much -1. It's like the anti-life gain stuff. So like rather than sigil gaining 3 health and you would gain 2 from that, this one would prevent like all 3 of it from happening. But it definitely is interesting. There is a lot of like anti-health gain stuff, or at least a couple pieces of equipment, weapons, and cards that can like, fuck with that. So that'll be curious to see how that goes. But I feel like we've jumped really way ahead. Like we've got 4 heroes. We got 2 with completely spoiled or maybe half spoiled abilities, because Mr. Gottlieb himself, the goat, said that the adult text is different for Florian, at least. Which shout out to Zane, said that maybe that's tied to the number of cards in the banish zone that would scale up more for CC.
CC.
Excuse me. But yeah, Florian, let's say elemental, runeblade, hero, young, 20 health, 4 intellect. If there are 4 or more earth cards in your banished zone, Florian gets if you would create 1 or more aura tokens, instead create that many +1 of each of those tokens. Which in my mind was just like, great, they found like a shitty way of making, those embodiment of earth tokens like stack again. That just is gonna piss everybody off when they start blocking for 5 with 1 card. But
well, we don't. I mean, we can assume, right, that there's like a card in the set that makes embodiment of Earth, but Briar is the only card that makes an embodiment of Earth. I think
that's true.
That in her Unify specialization. So there maybe will be one that makes those again. I mean, Rune Chants, right?
Because Germinate Germinate was shown of
that's true.
Rune Chant or Embodiment of Earth.
Exactly.
But that's the Chain Ender version. So that is a setup thing.
Yeah.
Of I don't have go again on this, but I'm gonna make 5. You can't pitch that much. I'm gonna make 3 Embodiment of Earth, and now I can block with Channel Mode Heroic, block 6 with 1 card, take out your CNC.
Yeah. So I don't, anyway.
Yeah.
There are plenty of cards too that make Rune Chants. You know what I mean? Some from Arcane Rising that are attacks that just make Rune Chants. I'm sure there's some sneaky other Runeblade cards we haven't thought of. Going back maybe briefly to, 2 things. One, Florian is dope. When you go to the page and you get a look at his Marvel art, he's like a stump with his cloak, makes him look like a tree in the ground, and he's resurrecting a sword also from a tree stump. It's freaking
I wonder
sweet.
what sword that could be. We're fucked.
The other thought process about why is his hero text different for being an adult would be there's some mentioning of the rots.
Says fuck on it. So it's for
So it could be This is a Florian adult is a Shadow Earth Rune Blade. That way we don't mess with our draft portion of this. Here's a whole new avenue of how you can build him. Of course he wants cards in his banish zone because he's Shadow and he's trying to do his composting stuff.
And he can
And-
rune gate then.
And he can Rune Gate then.
Dude.
Compost is awesome.
Is that the word or did I screw it up?
It was
Decompose,
I
but-
mean, that is the
Compost.
vibe.
That is the vibe. So it also, this is my hope every time a rune blade comes out, is everybody forgets about Dread Scythe, but maybe this is the set, bro, where Dread Scythe happens. If you forget what it does, it's a rune blade two-handed scythe weapon. Once per turn action, pay 3. Whenever you attack with Dread Scythe, deal 1 arcane damage to a hero. A hero dealt damage by Dread Scythe can't gain life during their next action phase and it attacks for 3. So it's a 3 for 4, basically. And you could, in theory, play Channel Millennium Tree, which has Go Again, pitch your Earth card, and then you get an Amp 3 on your Dread Scythe. So now your Dread Scythe comes in for 6 total.
For the people in the back who forgot, what does amp do again?
Oh yeah, Amp is basically a plus to your arcane damage. So Amp 3 means when you would deal a instance of arcane, it will deal that much plus 3.
That's crazy.
So your first rune chance coming in for a Arcane 4. So if you don't have Arcane Barrier higher than just a Null Rune Glove, the amp is just, you're taking 3.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Just kind of gross. I do
Oof.
think Channel the Millennium Tree is the coolest card that is released or spoiled today, I guess we could say. Because it's like, you remember Channel Mount Heroic? This is the same thing, but for Arcane.
Yeah.
Is disgusting. And
Someone's gonna
like
figure out
that
how
it
to
says-
put both of them up there, and it's gonna suck
Oh, of course. I'm jamming them both in a Florian deck
immediately.
instantly.
that's what I've been doing for the
Instantly.
last 4
Because they're both Earth cards, so they both fuse, they block 3, and they can freaking channel each other. So you're just like, here's my big tree and here's my big rock.
Dude, if Florian is a Shadow Earth Runeblade, I think I
Broken.
might die. that
That
would be tight.
broken.
We
It
won't do it.
It would be tight if they like dipped it. I mean, looking at him, he looks like a Shadow Runeblade for sure. Like it's like very like I know Briar was like, you know, kind of tough, moody looking, but this guy Florian's got that deep, you know, edgelord look that is, you know, key to Viscerai, Chain, and Vincent.
Vincent.
So
I think one card that people were like, is this another card where maybe this is finally good, is Sting of Sorcery. Attack action cards you control when you attack with this deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. If you have your tree up and you play Sting of Sorcery, like that's 4 arcane that just shows up. Like
Yeah.
I think the Millennium Tree is just so cool.
And there's Crackle, there's Singeing Steelblade, there's Vexing Malice. Like those all have those are just all Runeblade types, and they all have a bit of arcane. Then there's all of the like other things like Bramble Spark deals an arcane, Explosive Growth deals an arcane, so now Explosive Growth comes in for fucking 7. It's a 1 for 7. Which
I
is
think
just nuts.
Another thing I think is pretty cool that I want to go like, okay, great job. Like when you have an Earth Runeblade and you have a Lightning Runeblade, all of those Tales of Arya's cards could come back into those decks right away. You can literally go look at which one of the Runeblade, Elemental Runeblade, get fused by lightning. That can go in my Aurora deck. I can start thinking about this for Florian. Like, So Tomorrow banishes itself to the Earth thing, and maybe that's how we're gonna be decomposing for Florian. And like, I think avoiding reprints or whatever, like getting your mindset on that already is super cool. And then on the flip side of that, if you want to go hypotheticals, like I like doing, of like what I could do, you have a parallel hero of Icelander had ice spells, and we had never seen spells with talent before. And you can kind of go like, what were ice spells doing? And I can kind of like a lightning spell with the same parameters. What did channel like frigid versus channel thunderstep do? And now let's go back and look at all of those, and you could probably figure out a lightning spell right now if you were paying attention.
I was just thinking it could also be that Florian's adult is, the classic earth and lightning Runeblade, giving access to that somewhat smaller card pool that has such cool things. 'Cause I feel like when Brian was talking to Evan, I think he said Inspire Lightning. He's like, oh yeah, maybe, but that's a lightning fusion card. So like, if we're showing an earth hero, that's definitely not a card that would go in there. But if he's,
But then if we shift focus then over to Aurora, once per turn instant, pay 2, create an embodiment of lightning token. Activate this if you've played a lightning card this turn. So you just got to play a lightning card, then you can pay 2, then you can freaking inspire lightning arcane damage.
That's right.
You also now get to do stuff like or get to play potentially cards like Vela Flash, one of my favorite cards from Tales of Aria that just like never got played. It's a 1-for-5 lightning fusion. And if it was fused, you may play your next non-attack action as though it were an instant, baby.
I totally forgot that Aurora was a lightning elemental.
Dude, that's
What's
like
cool-
one of the cool parts.
Yeah, for sure.
And you don't have to use the embodiment of lightning. You can save it and now like Command and Conquer, go again to start off your next turn. Like everything that was annoying with Briar, you can like do with Aurora now on that level of it.
That's pretty cool.
So
Yes.
if you're a big Briar fan, you're getting what you wanted. You just get to pick which half of her power you wanted to do.
Yeah. And I think, hopefully this fixes the issue that I always had with Briar, which was she was barely an elemental.
Yeah, totally.
Blade, it's like none of these cards. Also, a cool thing to note, but probably won't matter because I don't think these heroes will have both. But Blossoming Spellblade is not a specialization. So if that comes back in, we're back to cooking. If that card could ever be good.
That's probably the coolest card that never got played in my
Oh,
opinion.
but it's Earth and Lightning
Yeah,
fusion.
that's what I'm saying. I don't think it'll work unless one of them grows up to be a dual talented hero, but we'll see. Anyways, I think Aurora also sounds really cool. Being able to just make an embodiment of lightning as your hero power is pretty sweet. You could do it on both turns. Yours and your opponents, and that's very interesting to see.
And if there's a lightning sword, somebody in our community will be able to play that in Lexi and win National Blitz Champion of the Year.
Only it has to be a lightning weapon, not a Runeblade weapon, is the only way. Shout out to Jesse. He can play that. But I mean, if that happens, I think Jesse just like dies. He just dies. Or he becomes,
his heart explodes from too much love.
He just holds up the car and he's the chosen one,
Jeez.
He will be our savior. It'd be incredible. Jesse is famous for Talishar Lexi, Ice Lexi, and he runs Talishar. It's pretty great.
It's not the place where you play games. It's the sword.
The sword.
There's no arrows, and he does more damage than if you had arrows. And you're like, what?
Another cool Majestic that never gets or didn't get played, or I played before Briar was broken into Cheerios Briar, was Flicker Wisp.
Mm-hmm.
Elemental Runeblade Lightning Fusion. If it was fused, action cards you control that deal arcane damage deal that much +1, and it deals 1 itself. So this doesn't work with Amp Tree because it's lightning, so that's not going to work. I mean, but you could play it in both of those decks because it is just an elemental card, but then it helps maybe fuel some cards like what are they? Wright's Arcanic Shockwave, which is a 0/4 with Lightning Fusion that deals an arcane.
Mm-hmm.
And Rights of Lightning, Lightning Rights. Yeah, it is Rights of Lightning. Okay,
yeah.
perfect. You know, so those type of things. So it's just all very exciting. I loved Tales of Aria, and I loved all the Elemental Runeblade cards we never played in Briar, and I hope we get to then play them in Aurora and Florian. That's the hope. Is I get to dust off all of those cards.
Inspire Lightning.
I think
just do arcane damage.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite cards in Limited, and I was always like, how did no one play this? But it was just not as good as Snatch. Like,
Right.
when it's the difference
Right.
of,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool that there's a cool flavor thing and a cool effect thing, but wouldn't you rather just draw a card and keep going and combo somebody? And it's like, yep, because Snatch comes in for 7 if I have my mountain out. One thing that I want to point out too, of the 2 channels that we've seen, the channel of the Millennium Tree, and then I have to click the button to see the other one. The other one is channel Lightning Valley. This is our first channel that's an instant, which I think is pretty sick. Because
on theme for lightning.
And like Osilo can probably draw a card on defense when he does damage to you on defense. Then it'll be his turn, and do damage to you, draw another card, and maybe in those 2 cards have a card to pitch for lightning to keep this still up is really cool. But don't worry about channel the Millennium Tree hitting you on your turn, because unless there's a hero power for Verdance, but like Florian won't be able to use this with like Sigil of Suffering because it's when it enters the arena and then the beginning of your action phase. So unless you're doing some crazy, like, I'm going to use this with my boots to put out a Millennium Tree, that'll be the only time you could maybe get got by a 4 damage Sigil of Suffering. And that would be like, oh my God, I hate this. Is the civil, does Amp bump Sigil of Suffering? Is that what's about to happen to us? Let me check this.
You have to creepers. You have to play a non-attack action.
Okay.
Right?
You have to block with an attack.
Block with an
And then
attack.
you can play Millennium of the Tree, and then you can. So it wouldn't be worth it. It's not going to happen.
I mean, it sounds worth it to kill. I mean, I used to pitch into Sonata. You know, you can pitch into Sonata and block with an attack, then creepers in Sonata, and then deal arcane damage they can't block on their turn. So you could do the same thing with Sigil of Suffering. The what's the other thing? Channel the
Amp
Millennium
works
Tree
on Sonata. That's gonna suck.
is also it does. That you're dead.
Sonata just does 3 arcane to you now. Great.
you can't play them both though. You can only creepers one of them, so it doesn't work. I mean, it does work
on your attacking turn.
On your attacking turn, but not at instant speed in reactions. Whatever the Earth wizard does, they get channel the Millennium Tree. So whatever spell sling and shit is going to happen out of that, they will get the tree, which is crazy. Can you imagine if Kano just got to pump one of his freaking spells every time when you just come in with Zap 0 for 3? Now it's a 0 for 6.
And I think between our 2 wizards we've had so far, Kano is kind of smaller spells at like 3 at once that work together. Icelander had some bigger spells that was maybe like, oh, if you fuse this, it's a 6 damage arcane. The ones where if you fuse this, if it hits you, I get to take a card from your hand. Those are all cards we remember, just not right now. Ice Veins or whatever. Chilling Ice Vein. It is this thing where you're like, oh, is our Earth Wizard the first one who's doing like a huge tall spell every time? Because Earth Guardian and Earth Briar attacks are like, instead of attacking for 4, it's
Yeah.
attacking for 11. And so now maybe it's like Verdance is either trying to stay alive to where she can set up 3 turns of 11 arcane and you can only block 3. That's 888. And now it's like, holy crap. Like I would assume Verdance's health is like 30 tops, like maybe 32, because of she's going to be doing like forked lightning for 14, which is the only time I've ever gotten LL points in my life. So I'm actually kind of excited for a tall spell hero.
Yeah,
Would be
absolutely.
like, I'm going to put, like, I just spent $1,000+ fucking dollars on this game, and now I'm more excited about this shit in September. And you're like,
Or
quit fucking me, Alice.
it could be like
Yeah.
it could be like tree plant themed even more, like a seed that starts or something. So it's like play this spell, it goes in this extra zone, and you put a counter on it every turn for X amount of turns.
Ward. If you protect your seed that has ward, then it grows into a plant, then it flowers, and it
then
does
explodes
+2,
you.
+5, or +7 amp, and you're like, all right, now we're cooking. My flowers are ready to go.
That'd be sick. I'm excited for
I kind of
spell.
didn't hear anything you just said because I got distracted by something I read on the page about Rosetta, which was this. Wizards rely on their superior intellect to outplay their foes with absolute mastery of the arcane arts. We're going to have a 5 intellect hero.
They're going to have 5 cards. It's right there.
They said it. Why would they use intellect?
Why would they use that word if they didn't mean
superior intellect? So I bet if that happens, because the other one that had a weird intellect is the other robot. So we have our second robot hero. And maybe it makes sense of Osilo. What has to happen, I think, every time we've had this thought experiment, locally or globally, it's like, if you have 5 cards, that hero is just going to be good if they use all generics, because it's 5 versus 4 every time. So like a 5-person should only be like, you can only use wizard, elemental, and lightning cards. You have no access to generics. Is that worth the 5th card of you can't play Sanctuary, you can't play Command and Conquer, you can't play Warmonger Diplomacy?
Or what if you don't have like an arsenal or something? Because it is the non-human thing, and we know they've taken away zones like a weapon zone before. Maybe they're just like,
Cilio has no pockets.
Your ass is too fat.
You know,
can't put anything back there.
Genitals.
Arms? Oh. Right. Yeah.
They have trunk.
No gender. Yeah.
Looks fucking sick though. I'm like,
So cool.
I'm super into it.
I
Verdance,
just
I'm
bought
like
all these
less.
Transcend Marvels.
I care less about. She looks very generic, like elfy fantasy girl. Like,
we said all of that shit about New when she came out. We're like, too sexy, blah blah blah, not cool. And then her cards came out.
I said generic.
And then she's like
she's
really
from
cool
a
of a
different
hero.
game, and so does Aurora's Marvel art. Looks like from a different game, which is a little weird.
The cosplay for Verdant's young version is going to be on point.
A lot of flowers are going to die.
I think it's interesting saying the words like, oh, this looks like it's from a different game, because like, okay, we've been to Aria, so it's not like, well, this is just a different part of our area. are Aria, but like Florian looks like a chain that has trees on them. So that
I
makes
think, I
sense.
mean, more like it looks like cartoony to me,
Hmm.
rather
Yeah.
than like, just fantasy art.
I don't know. Aurora has kind of young Lexi vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
It's like very clearly like channeling that. I think mostly the Marvel one just looks like a still from a cartoon, and that's not
Yeah.
normally the
Because Lexi for
the
sure
vibe.
had white hair, right?
Yeah.
So between
For sure.
Lexi, Aurora, and Amira, I'm waiting for one of these things to be like, I'm your
They're
sister or
triplets. Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And like, I think the other thing I really enjoy about this is they were lightning wizard, or earth wizard, and ice wizard. So wizard has all three of the elements. So will there ever be a lightning guardian? Will there ever be a ice rune blade? Will there ever be the third version of an archer that has earth powers? Like, it didn't make sense, but there's already a trifecta made now with the wizards, where if they ever want to do a third Arya set, they just go Earth Archer, like Elemental Earth Archer, and all the other threes that are missing. And it's like, oh my god.
Uh, that's fun. Clark Moore in chat says, "What do you guys think about the 24 Marvels?" I think that's insane.
I think if their
I better open one.
fucking pull rates are better than this last set, I'll be fine with it.
So there's
How many Marvels
8.
were in this set?
I don't know.
It has
There's
to be
8
less than 24.
Yeah,
8
24 is a lot.
heroes, right? Young and an adult. So that's 8 of those Marvels right there.
Right. I want Marvel weapons. Like that's the one thing
Yeah.
I don't understand why we don't have. Of like, yes,
we do
need.
have. Dynasty
Oh,
had
from
Marvel
that
weapons.
set. Yeah, okay.
I got a
all
Marvel
right.
Surgeon Aethertide, which
But-
can be amplified by the tree.
Let me go read that shit. Wait.
So
give me a
it's
second,
pay
give me a
2,
second.
pay 2, deal 1 arcane, and then if it
Surgeon.
deals arcane, then the next thing you play that deals arcane deals the amount of arcane you dealt. So Surgeon Aethertide amped by tree comes in for friggin' 4, and then you get to amp your next spell.
That's fucking sick.
So
Fucking
cool.
Turn
sick.
action go. The other
So
thing that
8 heroes. Then where else are the Marvels going? 8 weapons or 4 more weapons? That goes to 12. Everybody gets a specialization. Now we're at 16.
Well, what? Okay,
And then-
Marvels have been the, kind of like fancy versions of really cool cards. So it's like it could be like the channels come in with, if there's multiple channels, they could come in with that. Although people were like, it's already extended art, so maybe not.
Maybe not.
I think there's probably going to be double, like there might be hybrid cards. We could have Earth and Lightning cards that can be used by either one. Or I guess
New
that's kind of
pulses?
elemental. Yeah, new pulses could be in there. I mean, there's got to be something that's like tying, further overlapping and like making the draft portion of the 2 heroes, 2 talents, or 2 classes, 2 talents, like even more. Because like right now it's just like, okay, well, I just draft one or the other, and then I pick which one. I pick which hero.
It would be the
works.
class. The class cards is what you would be fighting over.
Yeah.
Do you think there is a wizard / runeblade card
Could be.
that like
A
all
codex
of our
of get fucked.
yeah codex of I'm gonna do some bullshit for 10 minutes, take a seat.
The also in the Marvel vein, what I would love to happen is if there was, so we're in Candle Heap or Candle Hold, right? So and the Queen's dead. So what if there's the royal armor and it's a head, chest, arms, and feet, and that all comes in Marvel? Because that's like one of the things we also don't have is Marvel equipment. Okay, whatever, Teklovasans. Those are just cold foil. Those aren't extended art Marvels. Do you imagine how in it, this is what I really want, is for them all to be the same piece of art, right? And so when you put all 4 of them out there as your equipment Marvel, it makes one continuous thing. That is what they should do. And if they haven't done that yet, they're losing money.
It's time to cook. Yeah. I agree. Do that. Let's do that immediately.
Joshua Morgan in chat says, surely Riptide gets an arcane trap
God.
now. Surely.
Surely.
Also, don't call Colin Shirley. He doesn't like it.
Yeah, call me Wanda.
I think the funniest thing about this amp that like Icelander's weapon isn't Waning Moon. It's oh crap. It's the Kraken's Aether Vein. And we were waiting for Kraken's Aether Vein to get an basically amp. And now that it exists, everyone was like, this is gonna be sick. But it's banned in all. You're just like, God damn it. Like I want to play Kraken's Aether Vein. If you don't block, I'm gonna draw 3 cards. It would be so sick.
It would be so dope.
Oh
yeah,
shoot.
That's true.
So Verdance and Living Legend is gonna be drawing 6 cards, blocking with 2 of them, setting up Fork Lightning for 16. You're done, bud.
You're toast.
You're toast.
I can't wait to play Verdance. Like I truly, if that is the hero, like I believe Osilio's probably gonna do Chain Lightning into what's the one, Sonic Boom off the top. Like that just seems like these were lightning spells before lightning existed. That kind of effect is probably gonna get into lightning spells. All of our elemental spells that were ice spells had to be fused for Icelander. There was only a couple that were actually ice spells. I think that's probably worth looking while I'm talking about it, because when's the last time you played Icelander for sure. But upraising wizard cards, Jesus. Okay, 2 seconds.
While you say that, Cortez in chat says, I heard Royal. Is it time for Regicide? Please, LSS, give Arachne more crumbs. Yes. That's what I'm saying. Buff Arachne.
Buff Arachne. Okay, so if you remember correctly, Frostex, Aetherhail, Frosting, and Ice Bolt. Those are the only 4 ice wizard spells. The rest were elemental spells that had to be fused. Mm-hmm. So one was main game plan with Frostex to combo out, then just replacements of every Arcane Rising card, but with ice written on it, because so we could fuse all our other stuff. And those were all vanilla, just used to fuse with something else. So that's probably what's going to end up happening, just for parallel stuff of we need not only spells that could do damage, but they can also fuse our more powerful stuff. And then I think it's figuring out the elemental wizard spells for both Osilio and Verdance are going to be where you could do some like creative thought of, is it gain 5 health? Is it amp 5 on my next spell? Is it do damage to yourself because you've already healed so much to do amp? Like, I don't know if we have the only deal damage to yourself to make yourself stronger is in set. So there's going to be a hero sometime in development over the next 5 years where that'll finally be a thing. I guess Chain didn't do damage to himself. I don't know. Didn't make stuff stronger. I don't know.
I don't know, but the hype is real. LSS is on top of it. I am very excited. I really appreciate you two for jumping on late at night. Chat, thanks for being here. We appreciate that. We're going to try to move along doggy here. But let us know if this is something you like. The What are we calling this segment, Colin? What are we calling this?
I called it Rathe Action News, but if you got a better title, let me know.
I
Instant
like
Speed was taken by something. We're running out of steps in the game to reference that make sense thematically.
Yeah,
So
Wraith Action News is great. So if you like the Wraith Action News where we come at you live when shit goes down and we're ready to do it, let us know.
we need a catchy like song. Ba-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. I'll just record that. I'll just cut that and we'll put that in the front of the next one. It'll be good.
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right. Yeah.
And then we'll do a guitar solo in there too.
Basket.
I think Discord just thought everything you just did was noise and canceled it.
No.
So try harder to sing better is what Discord is saying.
Nobody wants that.
Kiwi Stalker attack reaction news. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
All right.
Dang. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
just take
thanks,
that.
man.
Patent pending, trademarked by us, not you. We said it.
Yeah, we said it, not you, Brian. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone, and we'll see you soon when there's something else to talk about. Bye.